So hopefully the audio will be better. I'm hoping you guys can give me some feedback on that. Let me know as you're listening what you think. And yeah, let's get into this. So one of the things that's happened recently is a client was talking to me a few months ago about how she kind of feels like about once every 9 months, maybe a year, she feels like she just needs to flush things out, like, rinse out a clog or something. There's just something in her body that just feels like it's meh. It's just there. And we were talking about seasonal changes. Now, traditional Chinese medicine actually believes that you should have a transition between one season to the next, whether it's spring and fall, winter to spring, summer to fall, spring to summer. There's a transition that happens among all of it where what you want to do is you actually want to eat a certain way, or at least focus on certain things that, no, hold on, guys. I don't know if this is coming in the group. Hold up. We're going to find out. And if you're listening on YouTube, no worries. I am going to cut this part out. Okay, we're in the group. All right, cool. I don't know. There we go. All right. Whew, okay, we're good. All right, so the big thing with seasonal changes is that you start to kind of feel stagnated. And for some of us, you only feel this about once a year or so. My client was not wrong. You do feel stagnated. It can kind of feel like you need to pour something through or poke something through or do something to clear clogging. Or you feel like your stomach is so bloated or your body's so bloated that all you need is a stick pin, stick it in your body, stick it in your belly, and whoosh, all the air will come out and you won't feel so balloonish. I'm not sure how else to explain that. That's how I feel. I feel like a balloon when I'm not bloated. And it feels like nothing helps me, but I feel like it's a weighted down balloon. And I just want to keep going. I don't want to feel like a weighted down balloon. You don't want to feel like a weighted down balloon, right? Right. All right. So how do you know which season is your season? And how do you know what foods to choose, what foods not to choose? We're going to go through the seasons today. All right. And we're going to talk a little bit about cleansing and what that actually means. What I mean when we're talking about cleansing, when we're talking about detox. Okay. The number one thing I can tell you that I mean is this: cleansing and detoxification happens every single day in your body, all day, every day. It is your job, your liver's job. Okay. Now your liver has well over 500 functions. All right. But the main goal is cleansing and detoxification. So when we're talking about seasonal cleansing, what I am talking about, and this goes for any cleanse or detox, reset, any word I use, this is what I mean. We take it back to a place where you're eating easily digestible foods. Easy to digest foods. And the biggest reason for that is because while your liver can detoxify everything, it can be overworked. Now, our bodies have this phenomenal ability to heal, okay? And if your liver has maybe only 25%, I think some studies actually have gone down to 18% viability, okay? Which means it is active, it is live, it is doing its job, and only 18%, okay? You can actually heal your entire liver. Do you know that? You can. It's like smoking. If you smoke for 20 years, studies show that it will take close to that 20 years, but you can actually heal your lungs. Your body is a healing machine if you just give it the right stuff. So when you're feeling stagnated, and we're actually coming into this from summer into fall, and for those of you in Texas right now, it's very rainy and icky, and I took advantage of the fact that it's rainy and icky outside and I'm wearing a sweatshirt. It's probably not cool enough for a sweatshirt, but I'm doing it anyway. And the only reason I'm mentioning that is that actually today is very reflective of the season that we're in. We're in transition from summer to fall, right? So regardless of where you are in the world, whether you're in the Bahamas or you're up in Alaska or you're in, Midwest or you're up in Northeast or you're in Texas like I am, you still have seasons. There's still a shift of something in the energy, in the vibration in the earth, that there's a shift. And that's what we're talking about with seasonal is those shifts, okay? Now, each season has meaning. It's associated with various organs. It's associated with various elements, okay? And temperatures. And the temperatures of foods can actually help you in determining what foods you should and shouldn't eat to alleviate that stagnation, right? To help you kind of let it go. Now, my number one goal or my number one suggestion when you feel like that is lemon water. It helps with just about all of it, okay? But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to help you long term. It's going to help you acutely in the interim, right? It's going to help you alleviate it right now. But you need something, you need an understanding so that you can alleviate it long term. And let's say every summer to fall, you start feeling stagnated. For me, it's winter to spring. Springtime comes and I just want to, it's like I want to shed my skin. Okay. And for most of us, that's what it is. The biggest reason why is because you have your cool fall, then you have winter, and typically in the polar regions or farther away from the equator, you're going to have this winter where food isn't necessarily fresh, because growing fresh produce out in snow doesn't really happen, right? So you're eating things that are frozen, things that are considered preserved, dead, right? Not living, not breathing, not energetic. There's no energy movement within it. Oh, this is bugging me. Okay. Let's get comfy. Now, because of that, it's good to know. So we're going to start with summer into fall, because that's the season that we're in currently. All right. So I wrote these down so that I can make sure I get them correct. Now, have you heard of yin and yang? I'm pretty sure all of you have. Okay. You have two sides of coin, opposites, but they blend, they need each other, right? Summer and winter. Summer is the yang, winter is the yin. Okay? Summer is fire. Now you think fire, you think heat. I think Texas has been on fire for the whole friggin' summer, because apparently 105 was our summer temperature this year, instead of, letting us wait till the end of summer and having our second summer, where our second summer was 105. No, it was 105 the whole summer. So that heat, that fire, it produces expansion, right? The world, or the weather outside when there's fire, wants to try and expand, right? Molecules want to expand when there is fire so that it can avoid each other, it can cool itself down. That's what molecules do, right? Bounce all over the place, and then, they create heat and they create friction, and then now they want to just let it go, right? Expansion. That's what summer represents. We start having more sun, so then that energy source starts spinning through us and provides us more energy, provides us more vibrancy. We feel a little bit more in connection or connected to the earth around us. We're able to go outside without shoes and actually do a little earthing, reconnect ourselves with the earth mother, okay? Now with summer, here are the organs. Your heart, your small intestines, and this is going to be important. I'll tell you in a minute why. And your mind or your spirit. So mind, body, spirit, right? So your mind, your mental health, your mental well-being, where your mindset is, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the world, how things interacting within you and around you are forcing you to respond, okay? Mindset is gonna come into play in a lot of areas, but specifically within summer, because you're shedding old and bringing in new, right? That's spring into summer is shedding old and bringing in new. And in the summer, you're celebrating the new. It's like a rebirth, you know, your energy is renewed and you're just excited and vibrant and living life, right? For the most part, kids are out of school, you get to travel. Maybe it's a little slower at work, so you can just kind of relax a little bit. You know, who knows? It's easier to travel in the summer than the winter because you don't have to pack all the coats, right? All the heavy winter stuff. So, I mean, we could go on and on about that list. Now, the thing with the small intestines is that's digestive function. So remember, we were talking about cleansing and detoxification, right? So because of all this newfound energy and vibrancy, what's happening is your body is able to actively digest and metabolize and, you know, So because of that, typically in the summer, the sun, the air, the earthing, the food, your cravings tend to be healthier because you're getting all these different energy sources from the nature around you. And that's what summer is all about. So and really because fire needs something to cool it off, right? We need expansion. We need air to move and breathe. And, you know, we just need to just spread out. We also need cooling foods. So now when I say cooling foods, what do you hear? Do you hear cold? Well, think about summer and think about all the seasonal foods. Watermelon, cucumber, cantaloupe, berries, spinach, all the various dark leafy greens, the lighter foods, the foods that when you eat them, they don't feel like you have a rock in your stomach. So if you're going from spring into summer, these are the foods that you're going to eat. These are also the foods that your body might crave a little bit more in the summertime. Okay, so when you're hitting summer, if you're feeling stagnant, whether it's between spring and summer or, you know, summer on, and we'll talk about this in just a minute, you want to really focus on eating cooler foods. You want to eat, you know, the salad foods. I don't know if that's an easier way for you to hear it, but you want to eat more of the salad foods, okay? Jaw's funky, you guys. New devices. It's weird. I'm using my computer today because the camera is so much better than my last computer, and the next week we'll use the phone and we'll compare. All right, so from summer, you go into what is called late summer. Now, late summer is associated with earth, right? Fall is associated with metal. So what you're doing with late summer is associated with your stomach and your spleen. Summer digestion, we're talking gut, we're talking small intestines, the actual digestion part, metabolization, digestion, right? Now from there, you go into late summer, okay? Late summer with your stomach and your spleen, it's actually just this little time frame that is prepping you for the fall. And it's the time frame when the sweetest food comes out. So strawberries, cherries. I mean, watermelons are sweet, but you know, grapes are out right now. Peaches, nectarines, those very sweet foods, pineapples, the papayas, mangoes, things that when you take a bite of it, it just feels like it feels like the sweet is just embracing you, but it's not sugar. It's just a sweet, like a sweet hug. I'm not even sure if that's coming out right, but it's like a sweet hug. Okay. And it's just, you take a bite and you just go, those foods. Now you notice most of what I've just mentioned are fruits, but then this is also time frame when the sweet corn comes out, right? Carrots, not necessarily spinach. It can be sweet, but romaines, some of the super greens come out right now and are in season. And we're venturing into fall where we get squash. So summer squashes and zucchinis are out right now, and those are the seasonal foods. And it's what it is it's not necessarily cooling as much as it is continuing that cooling and kind of finding a balance between a cold and hot. So you kind of find some sort of balance. Now with traditional Chinese medicine, I know we're talking about elements. They temperature is a big thing. Climate is a big thing. So you have hot, cold, dry, and wet. Summer is hot, sometimes wet, sometimes dry. There's kind of a mix depending on where you're at. And because of that, summer and late summer, you want crisp. You want cooling, crisp, cooling, right? So if you eat a cucumber, do you know it can decrease your temperature? Actually physically decrease your temperature. So as you're eating foods in the summertime, you want to pay attention to the foods that heat you up versus the foods that keep you cooler. And the interesting thing is we are in the latter part of the summer. So some of you are starting to cool down and some of us are staying hot. Okay, today's an anomaly. In that, because of that, you still have a chance to try this out. You still have a chance for that. Okay. So as you're eating this week, try this. Have a salad that has your summer foods in it, your mandarin oranges, your strawberries, your melons, your pineapple with walnuts and a little feta cheese, you guys, on a salad with some grilled chicken or some garbanzo beans. Oh my gosh, to die for. All right. There's a little poppy seed dressing on it, a little vinaigrette. It's the perfect timing for it. See how you feel as you're eating that versus a comfort food. Do you crave comfort food in the summer? Most of us don't, because it's just, we sit and we say, oh, it's too hot. Your body wants to cool down, right? This is traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic, a lot of the traditional medicine and healing modalities. Look at the environment, look at how humans as a society start feeling the cravings and etc. And this is part of it. So now your summer and your late summer are really dealing with giving your stomach and your digestive metabolization system as a whole a break. All right. It worked hard during the fall, it worked hard during the winter, and now it just needs to breathe. Needs to just be let go, let it live, let it breathe. How do you let your digestive system breathe? Eat foods that are easy to digest. And as you're transitioning from summer, late summer into fall, that's what you want to focus on. As you're transitioning from spring into summer, same thing. So now let's say we've come here, we're in late summer, we're getting ready to venture into fall, right? So fall's not far away from us. It's like a month away, you guys. It's kind of easier for me to keep track of seasons now because of the boy's birthday. It's hilarious. Once we get out of doing month things, month birthdays, which we're close, then it's not going to be as easy. But for right now, it's pretty easy to keep track of the seasons. And we're a month away from fall. Now in fall represents metal, okay? It is cooler, but you can heat it up. There's variances in it, right? So it's not completely cold, but it's not completely warm. Fall is used traditionally to get rid of the unnecessary. Summer is like a party. And then you come into fall And fall is where you wake up and you clean house. So if you're doing a cleanse between the summer into the fall, and fall is just the time when you feel stagnated, then that means you party it up during the summer. Kudos! That is awesome. So now if you party it up in the summer, you gotta just kind of let it all go in the fall and get yourself back into balance, right? That's how you maintain balance. Party it up, balance it down. Party it up, balance it out. Make sense? There's a couple of things that you can do. So with fall, because you have metal that is going to cool and heat, trying to maintain that balance means you want to try and eat more room temperature foods. Nothing too hot, nothing too cold. Okay? Baked goods is actually really nice in the fall. Have you noticed that a lot of us, me included, right here, PSL lover, I am obsessed. Fall hits, I want my pumpkin spice latte. Now, I don't like pumpkin pie, but I like pumpkin spice lattes and I like pumpkin muffins. Those baked goods don't have to be unhealthy. They can actually be prepared in a very healthy way to allow you to enjoy them and really embrace the season that you're in. So if you notice during last year's, I think we went fall to winter. It was one of the first meal plans I put out last year was September, October. I think it was October. And there were more of those foods that are just healthy or not healthy. They're delicious to eat at room temperature. This is part of the reason. So your body just kind of wants a balance, and this is a good time. This is a really good time to go out and do a little earthing. Put your feet in the ground first thing in the morning, especially if you were in Texas, because I don't know if you are feeling the allergies, but oh man, you guys. And in about 2 months, we're going to have to start worrying about cedar fever. So if you start now, as you're transitioning into the fall, it's almost like you have your body's expecting it. So it just responds as though you've done it. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, if all of this is making sense to you, do me a favor and in the comments, write down, comment, I love earthing. We're going to put our feet in the ground. We're going to go outside and we're going to connect to Mother Earth. You will appreciate it. I promise. Scientifically, it has been proven. There are studies. I will share them with you. If we need to go there, we will go there. All right. So now you go from room temperature foods. Now here's the other thing. Pungent foods, right? Room temperature and pungent. Why? We're keeping those senses woken up. We don't want to go into hibernation. So we don't want to lose all the party and the energy and the vibrancy from summer. We don't want to lose all that. We want to maintain some of it. We may not need to go as vibrant as we were in the summer, but we want to maintain that. Okay, and we want to keep that. We want to hold that for as long as we can. So the pungent seasonings, the cinnamon, the star anise, the garlic, ginger, peppermints, things like that. That's why you're seeing them now, because our noses and our body, because of the season that we're in, love those. We are attracted to them. All right. If you're going to have room temperature, that's going to be kind of blah. So you need something to get your body and your brain specifically to go, we need to do that. All right. So now what if you're going fall to winter and for whatever reason in the fall, your summers don't necessarily go the way that I'm talking about. Maybe they're a little bit tame in comparison to what I'm talking about. And you start feeling stagnation between fall and winter. What do? Well, your cleanse is going to be the pungent foods. It's going to be the room temperature foods, but it's still not necessarily going to be all those heavy comfort foods. Okay. What you are going to want to do is just have a lighter version of your Thanksgiving meal, because fall into winter is right about Thanksgiving time, right? So you want a lighter version of it. That's it. Lots of spices. Your senses will appreciate the spices if you're cleansing between fall and winter. And if you feel stagnation between fall to winter, by all means. Now, what this also means in terms of hydration, because this is a question I get a lot, is what about water? Like you're saying, summer is cooling or fire and we need cooling food, so cold water, right? Makes sense. Winter is cold, so we need warm water. But room temperature, you need a balance, right? And room temperature goes the same with your water. It aligns exactly the same with your water as it does with your food. So when we're talking about temperatures of food, that's what we're talking about. So when you're looking at fall, you want to make sure that the beverages you drink are more room temperature. Not too hot, not too cold. Kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, right? You get to the third bed, and it's not too hot, not too cold. Just right. That's what you want to strive for with your hydration. So if you're like me and you like ice cold water, I alternate. So I'll have an ice cold, like I have my coffee hot in the morning, and before my coffee I'll have lemon water, but it's room temperature because it's been sitting out all night, because if it's not there, not in my face, I'm not going to drink it to this day. And then after this, I'll have some water with ice, and then I'll have some tea. So I have some of the hot and some of the cold. It balances itself out, and I don't feel overwhelmed by either. And that's kind of the point in the fall, is you don't want any overwhelming feelings with your food or anything you're consuming. All right. Now, what about winter? So we talked about summer, right? Winter is the exact opposite of summer. You need foods that are going to be warming, that are going to be hearty, and that are going to comfort you and feel like you wrapped up in a big bear hug. Okay? Warmth all around, right? Winter represents water. That is the element it's connected to. It's also connected to the kidneys and the bladder. So if it's kidneys and bladder, those are connected to urine, correct? So when you're looking at foods to eat in the winter, if you're trying to do a cleanse during the winter, from winter to spring, soup is a great way. Bone broth is phenomenal as an add-on in the wintertime to any diet, doesn't matter what it is, okay? It's warming, it's comfort, it has lots of nutrients in it. It is just one of those big bear hug foods. Chicken noodle soup in a lot of places, chicken tortilla soup, some of the chutney, and I can't think of it. The Middle Eastern specialties with, the very pungent spices. Well, wintertime, you may not be craving those pungent spices. It's going to wake you up. It's going to keep your vibrancy and your energy up during a time that is just stagnant within nature. I mean, there's not a lot growing in the wintertime in a lot of areas because it's too freaking cold. And most places have snow and ice over it. So you're not going to get a lot of stuff growing. Having blueberries in the winter with yogurt doesn't sound as appealing as it does in the summer. And it's because your brain is connected to the seasons. All right. So when you're getting into winter, just think this is the opposite of summer. This is the yin versus the yang, right? And in the yin, you want comfort, you want hearty, you want cuddly bear hugs from your food. Healthy food or hearty comfort food does not have to be unhealthy. I am telling you. Throw a bunch of vegetables into a pot, put sweet potatoes into it or red potatoes into it, get some potassium in there. You could throw a turnip in there. I mean, just anything. There, you're going to get a boost of your potassium, magnesium, which is really helpful in cold temperatures. Keeps blood flow going, keeps your electrolytes moving. Because in the winter, it's very difficult to drink water. It's very difficult for a lot of us to stay hydrated in the winter. It's just how it is, right? Your brain feels like it needs to go into hibernation. So it's trying, and here we are trying to not go into hibernation. And eating the warm comfort foods, the hearty comfort foods, the ones that really to you make it feel like you're getting a bear hug from your food, can help you keep your vibrancy up, but at the same time, having that pungent spice, something in your face that, an excess of garlic or some onions in there, bell pepper, just anything like that, that's super simple, super cheap. It's going to get your nose going. Put a bunch of black pepper and stuff. You're still going to get your nose going, and you're going to stay out of hibernation. You're going to have some balance and some wellness within your season. Now, winter into spring, this is the part where it gets a little controversial. So just heads up, this is not necessarily religious belief, okay? This is not what this is. This is tradition. These are from ancient societies. They have been carried into modern society because people have found that pretty commonly, when we get out of winter, we want to shed our skin, just like snakes. We want to shed the winter skin. We want to get rid of the winter clothes. We are tired of bundling up. We don't want to pile things on. Now we want to let it all out, right? We just talked about that with summer. But it's not as simple as one day you're covered up and in winter foods and then the next day you're not. If you're stagnant, finding the energy to move and move to a vibrancy and energy like what we're talking about in the summer, from one day to the next, when you're going stagnant, almost hibernation, to, oh my God, I need to run and be energetic and vibrant and blah, 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 blah. We don't work like that. We don't. Unless you're sick one day and you're not the next, we don't work like that. So when you go from winter into summer, you have this season that you just kind of want to eat a little healthier. Maybe do a cleanser or detox. There's a couple of, okay, dandelion root. I always joke about dandelions being the best salad on the planet, right? If you follow me for a while, you've heard this joke, and you've heard me teasing about it. Dandelion in the herbal medicine world is the spring cleaner. It grows in the spring. It pops its beautiful yellow head in the spring. And you can take every part of a dandelion and make something that helps your body cleanse and detoxify. The root, roasted and infused, tastes like a watered down espresso, which, coffee talk, I love. There's a couple brands out there. BWILD is one of my favorites. It comes in these tiny little packets. You put it in your water. Half the time what I do is I actually put it in my coffee. It just gives it a little bit more coffee flavor. And you could do that for a good month in the springtime and not really do much of anything else aside from eat seasonally. And you could cleanse, you could give your body that support it needs to go from the stagnation of winter to the vibrancy and the energy of summer. You could do that. So we're going to talk about 3 things that you can do regardless of the season that will help you no matter what season you've decided you need to cleanse in. If you're feeling stagnant in any of these seasons, okay, there are 3 things you can do regardless of the season to help you flush and cleanse during that time frame. And if this is happening year in, year out, that is your time frame. Okay? Each one of us has something. We each have a time frame. For me, it's spring. I love spring. Spring to me is really, it's like you're opening the door to a new world to me. It feels like that every year. So every year, I do some sort of thing, I'll put dandelion in my coffee for a month, or, I do the March Madness, the sugar-free March Madness in March. And that's part of the reason it started in March. I mean, it's a cool title and all, but that's not the biggest reason why I started that in March. I started that in March because for me, a spring cleanse, winter into spring, is perfect. It's like a reset button, which is what your cleansing and your detoxification should feel like. All right, so here's your 3 items. All right, very first item is drinking your lemon ginger water in the morning. Now, the season determines whether it should be room temperature, whether it should be hot, whether it should be cool. Summertime, drink it cool. Make it at night, or make a batch. You could make a batch for 3 days, put it in the refrigerator, and then each morning for 3 days, pour out some water, and you've got your infusion. It doesn't do well after 3 days. It starts to get wonky after 3 days. So you just want to do 3 days. So your lemon ginger water, very first thing in the morning, helps set your stomach up for the day. Based on the season, determines the temperature. Winter, it should be hot. You should be sipping on it like a regular tea, right? Next, eat your vegetables and your fruits. Eat them. You should be having 3 cups of vegetables and 2 cups of fruit every day. Make sure, and here's your third one, you eat seasonally. So these foods, these 3 cups of veggies and 2 cups of fruit should be seasonal. And the biggest reason why is because if you eat seasonally and you make sure that the bulk of your produce for your fruits and vegetable consumption come from seasonal produce, then now you've aligned with nature. So in the summer, seasonal foods are going to be cooling. In the winter, seasonal foods are going to be warming. Mother Nature, she is amazing at helping us live a very long, fulfilling, healthy life. So I hope you've learned a lot here. We are going to talk a little bit more about shifting from summer into fall, late summer into fall next week. It's not going to be the full topic, trust me. I'll get that notice out a little bit earlier than I did this week. It's been chaotic, you guys. If you have questions about anything, as always, let me know. And if you've made it this far, do me a favor. Put in the comments below or DM it to me if you don't want to put it out in public space. Which season do you feel like you need to cleanse in? Do you have a season that you feel stagnated in? Do you have multiples? Let me know. We're going to help each other out, and we're going to see what we need to do to help those of you who feel stagnant in the summer versus the winter versus the fall or late summer or spring. Because I guarantee you are not the only one during that time frame. And having a support buddy when you're trying to give your body a little bit of a break is really, really helpful. So, cheers. Thank you for joining me this far. My name is Bonnie. This is Healthy in a Wild World. And where did you go? There you are. I will chat with you guys later. Sorry for the interruption. I have a new iPhone, and apparently the phone and the computer are connected. If you have an iPhone out there, you and I might be chatting. All right, I will chat with you guys later. Cheers. We are going to get started on some recipes again next week because September comes out next week, you guys. And September starts fall foods, which are room temperature and pungent. Do you know what this means? Pumpkin muffins. Yes, there are going to be pumpkin muffins on your meal plan because it's September and we can do that now. All right, you guys, I will chat with y'all later. Have a wonderful week. Like I said, let me know below what your season is. Let's get to it. All right, I will chat with you next week. Cheers.